Welcome, fellow seekers of truth, to Kingdom Treasures. Today, we embark on a journey through one of the most intriguing passages in the Bible, Revelation 12. This chapter is a tapestry of vivid imagery and profound symbolism that has captivated theologians and believers for centuries. As we delve into the depths of this prophecy, we'll unravel the mysteries surrounding three key figures: the woman, the child, and the dragon. These symbols are not mere literary devices, but powerful representations of cosmic forces at play in the grand narrative of God's redemptive plan. Understanding biblical symbolism is crucial for grasping the full message of Revelation. It's like decoding a divine cipher, where each image carries layers of meaning that speak to both historical events and future prophecies. Before we dive into the specifics of Revelation 12, let's set the stage. The Apostle John, exiled on the island of Patmos, received this divine revelation directly from Jesus Christ. As we read in Revelation 1:1, the revelation from Jesus Christ, which God gave him to show his servants what must soon take place. This book is not just a collection of strange visions, but a prophecy, a glimpse into God's plan for the end times. It's a message of warning, hope, and ultimate victory, wrapped in symbols and visions that often defy our earthly understanding. The mysterious nature of Revelation serves a purpose. It challenges us to seek deeper, to pray for wisdom, and to align our hearts with God's will as we face the trials and tribulations that lie ahead. Now, let's turn our attention to the first major figure in Revelation 12, the woman. John describes her in verse 1. A great sign appeared in heaven: a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and a crown of 12 stars on her head. This breathtaking image is rich with symbolism. The woman, radiant and crowned with glory, stands as a beacon of hope and faithfulness. But who does she represent? In the study of Revelation 12, theologians and scholars have presented various interpretations of the woman, each offering a unique perspective. One prominent interpretation suggests that the woman symbolizes the Christian church. This view holds that the church, despite facing persecution and countless challenges, is ultimately protected and nurtured by divine intervention. Another interpretation identifies the woman with the nation of Israel. According to this perspective, Israel is the ancestral line through which the Messiah emerged. Thus, the woman embodies this pivotal role in the divine narrative. Additionally, the woman is sometimes seen as a maternal figure, notably as Mary, the mother of Jesus. This view extends to a broader representation of the faithful people of God. Interestingly, these interpretations are not necessarily in opposition. They can all be accurate in their own right, reflecting the complex and multi-layered nature of biblical prophecy. Each interpretation contributes to a richer understanding of the symbolic significance of the woman. Moreover, the imagery of the woman in Revelation 12 resonates with Old Testament motifs, particularly drawing upon the imagery found in Genesis 37:9-10. In this passage, Joseph dreams of the sun, moon, and 11 stars bowing to him, which many interpret as representing his family, the 12 tribes of Israel. This connection enhances the understanding of the woman as a representation of Israel, a nation destined to give rise to the 12 tribes, and eventually the long-awaited Messiah. Such a linkage underscores the depth and continuity within the biblical narrative, as the imagery mirrors the profound connections between Old and New Testament themes. At the heart of Revelation 12 is the child born to the woman. Verse 5 tells us, "She gave birth to a son, a male child, who will rule all the nations with an iron scepter." This child is widely interpreted as the incarnation of Christ. The reference to ruling with an iron scepter echoes Psalm 2:9, which is a powerful messianic prophecy about the coming king, asserting the authority and ultimate sovereignty that Christ will have over all nations. The imagery of an iron scepter signifies the strength and permanence of his rule, underscoring his divine authority and justice. the child represents God's redemptive plan coming to fruition. In him, we see the fulfillment of ancient promises made by God throughout the Scriptures, the culmination of a divine plan of salvation meticulously woven through history, providing hope of salvation for all humanity. This marks a significant turning point where prophetic promises transition into reality, illustrating the profound scope and eternal significance of Christ's mission on earth. However, the birth is not without peril. Verse 4 describes the dragon waiting to devour the child. This symbolizes the intense opposition that God's plan has faced throughout historical eras. The dragon's menacing presence reflects adversarial forces that have continually sought to thwart divine intentions. This mirrors historical events, such as King Herod's attempt to kill the infant Jesus, a narrative deeply embedded in the Gospel accounts. Herod's decree, driven by fear of losing power, represents the earthly manifestation of this celestial conflict and highlights the ongoing struggle against malevolent forces opposed to God's will. Thus, the imagery of the woman, the child, and the dragon encapsulates both the deliverance embodied in the birth of Christ and the profound adversarial challenges besieging divine purposes throughout history. It encourages believers to recognize the ultimate victory and protection offered by Christ, despite the adversities that pervade the earthly journey of faith. This passage reassures the faithful of God's unyielding commitment to fulfilling his promises and his unwavering sovereignty over creation. Now we come to the antagonist of our cosmic drama, the dragon. Revelation 12:3 paints a terrifying picture. Then another sign appeared in heaven, an enormous red dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns on its heads. This monstrous figure is explicitly identified in verse 9 as that ancient serpent called the devil, or Satan. The dragon represents the embodiment of evil, the adversary of God and his people. The dragon's multiple heads and horns symbolize its great power and influence over earthly kingdoms. Yet, despite its fearsome appearance, we see its limitations. Verse 8 tells us that after a great battle, it lost its place in heaven. This expulsion from heaven marks a crucial turning point. While it limits the dragon's power, it also intensifies its rage against God's people on earth. The battle described in verses 7 to 9 between Michael and his angels against the dragon illustrates the reality of spiritual warfare. This conflict isn't confined to heavenly realms. It spills over into our world, affecting the lives of believers. As Paul reminds us in Ephesians 6:12, "For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms." This ongoing spiritual battle calls us to vigilance and faith, reminding us that our ultimate enemy is not human, but spiritual. After the child is taken to God's throne, we see the woman fleeing into the wilderness. Verse 14 says, "The woman was given the 2 wings of a great eagle, so that she might fly to the place prepared for her in the wilderness, where she would be taken care of for a time, times and half a time, out of the serpent's reach." This vivid imagery speaks of God's protection and provision for his people during times of persecution. The eagle's wings recall Exodus 19:4, where God describes how he carried Israel out of Egypt. The time period mentioned, a time, times and half a time, is thought to represent 3.5 years, a period of intense tribulation. Unable to destroy the woman, the dragon turns its fury towards her offspring. Verse 17 describes them as those who keep God's commands and hold fast their testimony about Jesus. This remnant represents faithful believers throughout history who stand firm in their faith despite opposition. To these faithful ones, and to all of us facing trials, the message of Revelation 12 offers both a warning and an encouragement. We are called to persevere, knowing that the dragon's time is limited and God's ultimate victory is assured. This passage, with its rich symbolism and profound truths, remains deeply relevant for us today. As we navigate the complexities of our own times, may we, like the woman and her offspring, remain steadfast in our faith. Let us hold fast to God's commands and boldly proclaim our testimony of Jesus. I encourage you, dear viewers, to dive deeper into Scripture. Seek the wisdom that comes from above, for in these ancient words, we find guidance for our present and hope for our future. Before we part ways, I invite you to engage further with Kingdom Treasures. If you found value in today's exploration, please like this video and share it with others who might benefit from these insights. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more in-depth biblical studies and prophetic insights. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below with your questions or reflections on Revelation 12. Your perspective might shed new light on these profound truths. Stay tuned for our upcoming series on biblical prophecy and interpretation. Together, we'll continue to mine the depths of Scripture, unearthing the riches of God's wisdom for our lives. Until next time, may you be strengthened in your faith and filled with the hope that comes from knowing the one who holds all things in his hands. God bless you all.